Many parents provide their children with cell phones as an added security measure, having the ability to reach out and be reached at all times. But growing concerns over the health risks are beginning to outweigh the benefits, especially for young children. In fact, new research is showing children could be affected in their mother's womb. The concerns are outlined in a new book called Disconnect. The author is with us this morning. We are pleased to welcome back to the show Dr. Devra Davis, founder of and president of the Environmental Heath Trust. Good morning.
Good morning. Nice to be here.
Yeah, great to have you. So, my goodness, cell phones, they're just ubiquitous nowadays. Why is it that we're not hearing about the dangers of cell phones?
Well, we all like them and use them a great deal, but the fact is a cell phone is a two-way microwave radio. And we used to think the microwaves were totally benign and had no effect because they are in fact very weak.
Okay.
But research now conducted in Israel, France, Finland, Japan, outside of the United States has consistently shown that the weak non-ionizing radiation from cell phones has biological effects. It can damage sperm, it can damage brain cells, and we ought to be careful about what it means for our long term, and that's why a number of governments are issuing precautionary advice, especially for children.
Well, and just a handful of years ago, we were using them sporadically, and now it's like nonstop.
Right.
Right next to your ear or in your pocket. Is it the proximity that's the problem? Because we think microwave ovens seem fine.
No, that's exactly the point. It's the proximity that's the problem. In fact, phones are only tested in two places. They're tested with a spacer from your ear and a spacer from your hip. They are never tested in the pocket. That's why the FCC is issuing a notice now for additional information about cell phone safety, because if phones were tested in the pocket, they would actually not be legal. As currently used, if you put a phone in your pocket, you're increasing the radiation into your body dramatically. And that is what is in fine print warnings now that you can find with all of the smartphones that are sold, but nobody reads them. You can find that on our website, fine print warnings at environmentalhealthtrust.org, that tells you that you're supposed to use an iPhone 4S 0.98 inches from the body, 2.54 centimeters, or in fact, there are different lengths for different phones.
Yeah.
The BlackBerry, the Droid, they all come up with why you should keep the phone off the body.
So you've been helping get the word out there that this is a danger, and there's starting to be some studies. Tell me about the new Yale study that just came out.
Well, the chief of OBGYN at Yale University, Hugh Taylor, led a team of researchers that exposed mice prenatally when they were pregnant to cell phone radiation. And at the end, looked at those mice, looked at their brains and looked at how they behaved. They found that cell phone exposed mice had significantly more hyperactivity, and they also found that cell phone exposed mice had brains that didn't work as well. Now that was a very important study published in a Nature publication and peer-reviewed just last month. In addition to that work, other research has found similar results done in Turkey, in Greece, where prenatal exposure to rabbits and rats has resulted in animals with smaller brains and more damage to their brains.
Wow. Okay, so has there been any research on humans as well in terms of brain cancer or what might be happening inside the brain when it's next to your head?
We see that's where we have the problem. Brain cancer is a terrible disease. It takes many, many decades to develop. There are some studies, but having sat, as I did at the Cancer Institute here in Pittsburgh, and watched the data develop over lung cancer and tobacco, and the data on asbestos and lung cancer, we don't want to have to wait 40 years for proof, definitive proof of human harm. We've got reasons for concern now, and that's why the governments of Finland and France are issuing warnings. I'm actually working with people now in those countries to develop more advice that the governments are issuing. In fact, Israel has created a national institute on cell phone safety.
Wow, so you're likening this to asbestos or cigarette smoking, that it took that many years to find out, and we could be doing the same thing with our cell phones right now.
Except that cell phones have a lot of positive functions in our society, so we want to be using them in a smarter way. I think the story is more like with cars. We know that we can make cars safer, and we've finally done that. There was a lot of resistance to doing it. We need to make cell phones as safe as possible. We need to design them with smarter antennas and better configurations, and cases like this Pong case that I use.
Okay.
This actually diffuses the signal so that you do not get as much radiation coming into your body as you do without it. And that kind of